Dear Evan Hansen, today's going to be a great day and here's why. I just got back from seeing the current U.S. national tour of Dear Evan Hansen, and yes, as you can see, I did buy the official merch polo, and I figured now that I've gone back and seen it. Which is another show I've wanted to see for a long time. And basically tell you what I thought about it. Okay, so, like last time, and I actually saw it in the same venue as I saw Mean Girls, as you can see by the playbill. And honestly, I think this one, I think actually this one looks better than the Mean Girls one, because the Mean Girls one was just so plain looking. This is the actual logo. Starting with the cast. Okay, so obviously, vocally, it's hard to hold a candle to, like, the singing ability of Ben Platt, but I have to say, starting with Michael Fishbosh, who was Evan in this production, I have to say, I think I liked his portrayal of Evan slightly more. I think it might be because he's the one I saw, so that might be why I'm slightly more sentimental towards him. But I'll have to admit, he brought depth to Evan, and honestly, I felt the desperation of not wanting to let go of a good thing, and you can tell you can see in the struggle that he desperately wants to hold on to, helping the Murphys, and also allowing himself to feel what it's like to have a family. And yes, you can feel during Good For You, you absolutely felt when he genuinely had a panic attack. And I personally thought that it was actually, I don't really know how to phrase this. He presented it so well, is what I'm trying to say. And then we have Brie Cade, who played Heidi Hansen, and oh my gosh, did I bawl during her So Big So Small. And yes, of course the original cast recording made me cry too, but I wept so hard during So Big So Small. And that's when you can tell generally how good of a betrayal that she is with him, and that very much lack of communication that they had through nearly the entire show, which yes, I know that's how the show is supposed to be, that's how it was written, but they did an expert job of just portraying how strained that relationship is due to the, as I said, lack of communication. And then after that, we had Jeff Brooks, who played Larry Murphy, and honestly, I don't know how the original actor did it, but he did a good job of portraying the fighting husband whilst he thought his son was a monster, he did still genuinely want that connection with his son. And like I'm not and like and Jeff Brooks almost had like he was very much authoritative in his betrayal, and I want to say almost like he didn't care. He generally did not care about how his wife felt, and he wanted her to get over it. And I feel like that, even though that might not be the intention, that was definitely how I felt during the show. And then for Zoe Murphy, we had Haiti Ryan King, who honestly, I loved her portrayal of Zoe. And like, yes, of course, like the original actress did good too in the recording. And obviously Requiem is always a heartbreaking song. But something about this performance I genuinely wept during. Because like they both, like the entire family made it believable that whilst they believed with that they were at a loss of not knowing that that their son seemingly had a different portrayal than what he let on. And it was almost like they were it was almost like the way that it came across, that they were mourning the person that they didn't know was there, even though obviously, if you know the story, that was not the case. And Alana Beck, McKenna Jackson, McKenna as Alana, like, she gave it something. Like, she was humorous. And, like, I almost felt like her betrayal as Alana and Gabriel Veron Young, like, both of their betrayals as Alana and Jared made most of the show. Like honestly, I feel like, yes, of course, Will Connolly, who played the role of Jared on Broadway, like, he, like, made the role funny. Gabriel Vernon and Young made the role sympathetic, because, like, unlike Will Connolly's version of Jared, who was more aggressive and jokey, because I've seen the bootleg of the original Broadway cast, and while Will Rowland's version of Jared during the You Evan before We're Good For You, he yelled it. Gabriel whispered it. You can very much sense the heartbreak of losing someone who, even though he didn't want to fully admit it, was his only friend, even though he tried to say he wasn't. And honestly, the same could kind of be said for Alana, because in a lot of ways she was Connor's friend. She just, like, put on the we were just acquaintances vibe, and, like, you could tell that she genuinely cared for him, but she just didn't want to say. And then And then I have the privilege of saying I actually got to see an understudy. The role of Cynthia Murphy, who usually is played by Caitlin Sams, in this performance was played by understudy Monica Blum. And for an understudy, I'm not gonna say like I shouldn't say for an understudy, because honestly, understudies are better if not just as good as the main cast in their own rights. And whilst I would have liked to have maybe seen an understudy Evan, or maybe heck even an understudy Jared, or an understudy Connor, which I'll get to Connor in a second. I don't know how much rehearsal time she got. Like, well, then again, they might have all just had to put in rehearsal, but I don't know how much like time she got pre-show to learn to go over the show, even though I'm sure she's done it multiple times. Her portrayal of Cynthia, like, it was so heartbreaking, and you can tell, like, she genuinely grieved her son. And even though, yes, he had some problems, she made it clear that she still saw the little boy she once knew, and like, she was very much a grieving mother, and she also desperately wanted to believe that Evan was Connor's friend. So the breakdown the cry she has at the end of Words Fail, it was earned. And honestly, I feel like I must say this. I actually didn't cry during most of the songs I've cried to during the. Actually, I'll save that for later. Going from Cynthia Murphy to her son Connor Murphy with Alex Sparrow, who I just want to give a shout out to, like, in the cast recording and the subsequent slam tutorial that I saw of the original cast. The original person who played Connor Murphy, like, on Broadway, he portrayed more of, from what I took as, sassy edge to, especially something like Sincerely Me. But Alex's portrayal of it was very much I'm dead serious here vibe. And I don't know, but a deep voiced Connor Murphy did something for me. It just did. And I'm like, whoa. Hearing Sincerely Me in a deeper tone, hearing Disappear in a deeper tone, just, well, it's not like that deep, but it wasn't the high as the original Broadway cast one was. And that, for me, like, I was like, okay, I like you, sir. And they all did a great job with doing the show and telling the story. And like, I think it might be because I am so used to the way the cast recording is done that I didn't cry during the parts I usually do listening to the cast recording. Like, usually I break down sobbing during You'll Be Found, which a lot of people did. I only broke down crying one time, like, and that's what the previously mentioned during So Big, So Small. I wept during Requiem. I wept a bit and lip quivered during You'll Be Found, and also during Requiem. But I didn't cry until So Big, So Small. And I think that might have been because, like, you could, the genuine emotion that the relationship between Evan and Heidi had. Michael and Bree did an amazing job of portraying the build-up of the angst until they just could not hold it back anymore. And when they were talking about Evan's dad, I guess the way that they were doing it just broke me. So, and also another thing I wanted to point out, I don't know if the original Broadway cast, actually I think they didn't have one, but I could be wrong. But I don't know if they have. I don't think the original Broadway cast had an ensemble, or I could be wrong. So y'all have to correct me in the comments. But it was like really impactful how it was just the main group, and it was a lot different than how I expected it to be done, solely by what I've seen of slam tutorials and of listening to the cast recording. Like, yeah, there is an ensemble, but it's the main group. I was actually expecting them to use the understudies more often. Like, like have them just walk across as like fill-in or something. But if that's how the show actually goes, let me know. Like, it's just the main group. And and let's also talk about the set. The set is, from what I've seen of the footage on Broadway, it's the same way that it was then. And actually, despite it being a non-equity venue, which I will admit, probably why this is the second. Which, by the way, non-equity tour casts and productions are just as good as the equity productions. So don't sleep on non-equity, people. Come on. And honestly, like, I don't know why I keep saying honestly, but this show has meant more to me because back in high school, like, I was going through it. Yeah. Well, not going through it, but like overwhelmed by all the emotions of about to graduate, spending the last little bit of time before that was it. And I remember just listening to You Will Be Found on repeat, just crying. Listening to So Big, So Small, crying. Listening to like various songs of the show, just bawling. Because I guess, like what they say in the show, I needed to hear it. And seeing it live as older now, it hits different depending on how old you are when you see it. And that's why this is why the show won Best Musical, because it makes you feel something. And I'm glad that I spent the money to take me and a group of friends to go and see it. And it gave me a little mini vacation to Athens. So you know, a little weekend getaway isn't that bad. And honestly, I feel like I talked less about the show than I have like the performances, but unlike Mean Girls, which I reviewed last time, this show just speaks for itself. And like Mean Girls, like, I had my phase where I got into this, and it hit. I'm honestly so grateful to God to have seen it, and I don't know if I'll ever get the chance to see it again, because from what I heard, I don't know if the rights will be out to it or not. But if it is, I'll definitely audition for it or go see it. But that's basically all I have really to say about the Dear Evan Hansen production. Oh, and I want to also say, this is the replica from Broadway production. This isn't the non-replica tour that went around the UK. That hadn't come to the US yet, and I don't think it will, because from what I've heard of people who've seen the non-replica Dear Evan Hansen tour, they literally changed almost nothing other than adding an ensemble to it, which might be where I got that from. But yeah, that's pretty much all I have to say. My review of Dear Evan Hansen, slightly cosplaying as Dear Evan Hansen. Tell me if you guys have seen the non-equity US tour production of Dear Evan Hansen. Let me know what you thought of it in the comments below. Thank you guys so much for watching. Hope you enjoy, and I more than likely will do more US tour productions as I see more production reviews as I see them, because this is now the second one, and more than likely there'll be more in the future. Thank you guys for watching, and have a stagey day. Bye-bye. All trademarks to that patent pending to Mickey Joe Theater. Have a good one, and I'll see you when I see you. Bye.